Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America locked in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And of course, you know what today is. Today is Tech Search, and we're looking for technically minded people to do some of the things that need to be done for our communities. It's a weekly show, and we're joined by Spaceman. He just blacked out, but I'm sure he'll come back in. And today we're going to talk about brain power. Not so much brain power, but how can we increase our brain power? How can we really get into our thoughts and get the most out of our thoughts? What we're thinking, what we're doing, not always doing dumb stuff all the time. And so this is a program that shows you how to, you're more than just what other people say you are. You're more than just what the mainstream says you are. You're much more than that. And it's all around your community, your sons, your daughters, your nephews, your nieces, your uncles, your aunts. We're all here for a purpose, and we all have qualities that we all need. And all we have to do is weave them together, work them together, and make stuff happen. Don't cost no money, because you're about to see in a minute that money thing. They're about to put everybody on this card. So what are we going to do about that when that hits? We just going to be out there in alert, or we going to have something for ourselves that we can fall back on instead of always relying on other people? I mean, we're on this planet like everybody else. People leave their children 400 years in the future. They leave stuff with their families. What do we do? And why do we just walk around and act like that stuff don't matter? Because the majority of African Americans, 99%, don't even think of that. So joining me, and I welcome the Spaceman to the program. Spaceman, what's going on, bro?
Oh man, it's just going on. It's just moving right along. I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, we all are here on a purpose. We have a purpose. We're not here by haphazardness, or maybe you say God have extra clay on hand. He just threw it out there and see what it's gonna do. Uh, I think we all have a purpose here.
What do you think that? I mean, I know you don't know any. It's cool to focus on our purpose. What do you think the purpose of the people are? When they wake up every day and they see all this stuff going on, and it's usually them in the center of everything. Everything in the news centers around so-called Black people, or in Indian people, or African American people. Everything centers around that. Why do you think that is, and why do you think we haven't figured it out yet?
Well, it's all about uh, developing your thinking muscles. I mean, people got sports center where they go out there and lift weights, run on treadmills. They develop the physical muscle, but what about their spiritual muscles, their thinking ability? See, there are people talking about growing uh, cotton and growing food and different stuff. I'm thinking we should grow knowledge. We should grow the incentive to make people more knowledgeable. That's why I thought Tech Search would bring the technical minded people out of the closet, because everybody is really special in God's eyesight. Because if you think about billions of potential lives was supposed to come alive on that day. They went up to attack the Orion. Fewer than 50 even got to the top. You came alive on that day at that time. Now, that is really special. And if it's according to God's purpose, then there we are with the purpose thing. And I don't think anybody here is without purpose.
Um,
Uh,
how do we do that? I mean, because you said grow knowledge, and when you said that, something clicked. But could you elaborate on that? What do you mean by growing knowledge?
well, it's really knowledge to get out of the, especially the black and white thing, because I mean, I don't think it's black and white identity we're seeking. I think it's mental maturity we want. So if we don't mature in our thinking ability or in our minds, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you just gonna think stuck on stupid, so you gonna be. I mean, it's just common sense.
Yeah, because I'm noticing the events of today are events in the past. And it seems like everything keeps repeating itself, especially with the so called black folks with all this stuff. Because it's like, with this mask thing. Here's an example with the mask thing. I'm seeing that so called black people are like the mask police.
Well, it saddens me that people don't realize that the mass is like committing suicide, because you restrict the carbon monoxide that you're supposed to breathe out, and it be exchanged to oxygen by the time you make the breath in. But when the mass restricts the carbon monoxide that's supposed to come out, you breathing in back CO2, which is carbon monoxide poison. So it just goes back to common sense. If collectively you get enough carbon monoxide inside, guess what? It breaks down the immune system. When it breaks the immune system down to a certain level, it can't be rebuilt by no food you eat or no exercise or nothing else. Cause when it's carbon monoxide that broke it down, it can't be rebuilt. So then you are susceptible to any virus, a mosquito, anything. You catch any kind of virus. You don't have an immune system that can fight it off. Now you done broke it down with this mask thing that somebody, and it's all hearsay, that everybody's got these masks on like they saving themselves or saving somebody else from them. I said, well, if you're walking around with whatever that is, and they saying that everybody that got it has died, you a dead man walking is what are you telling me? You trying to save the world by wearing a mask, save the world from you? Hey, how did you get to be the bad virus holder? And I really, it just escapes me how the world got that far off the path to righteousness. So if we can get their minds off of this foolishness and put it on something positive, then we're making a step in the right direction. So if the word of God said you make one step, God will make the rest. But Moses couldn't part the Red Sea till he stretched out the rod. He, your choices is your rod that you stretch out to move situations, positive or negative, in your life. I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, does that make any sense?
No, it makes these are the conversations we should be having all the time instead of
It,
sports, what kind of tires I got on my car, if I got different color shoestring, and all the dumb shit we talk about all the time. But when
Right.
you
That, like I say, it's stuff they talk about. They put more faith and interest in stuff, and stuff is just that stuff.
stop,
So they try to exclude cheering out of the comment. Go away, the grown people talking. Y'all go somewhere else. If you don't give them some direction now, they ain't gonna have any direction. Now what? You create a monster. You got something out there that's out of control with no direction, and you sure can't come in and give them direction then, because you can't, like they say, you can't bend a tree that's already done grown up past the point of bending or shaping.
right?
So there we are. And we
Okay,
go back to Mother Earth. You put a seed there, that's what you put down, it grows. And if you put a seed of stuck on stupidness there, that's what's gonna grow. See, you can't expect something corn or something that you can eat planting weed seed. So when you plant weed seed, is when you're out with this foolishness. And I run into a group of people. The young man, he meant well, but he referred to saying that the white people was the devil. And I said, hold on there. I said, gosh, I said, you got a nice looking car. He said, oh, yeah, yeah. I said, oh, well, you must have a good job to buy that. He said, oh, yeah, yeah. I work for, he told me where he worked, but he didn't tell me exactly. I can't remember that. But I asked him what shift did he work on. He said, the first shift. He goes 7 in the morning till 3. I said, well, good. I said, now, you're telling these young cheering people standing around you, they all gathered around here. And I noticed people start coming more and more because they saw Spaceman over there. They thought I was in with the guy, but I was in with him, but I was in with them more than the guy. So when I broke it down to him, I did it in a nice way. I said, well, look, let me get this right. You got a nice looking car, but you had to get up at 7 o'clock to get, no, I get up at 6 o'clock and get my coffee. Okay, well, you get up at 6 o'clock. You go into the devil's job to get some of the devil's money to go to the devil's car dealership and bought this nice looking car that came from the devil's car factory. And don't get hungry. You go to the devil's food chain to buy some of the devil's food that you eat. Now, wait, yeah, am I getting this wrong or am I getting it right? He said, wait a minute, I hadn't looked at it that way. I said, yeah, I understand that. And he said that he was taught that as he was growing up. I said, well, see, that's still hearsay. Do you call something God decided to put in his world the devil? I mean, that ain't too cool. I mean, I know we've been mistreated by a lot of the colored folks you call white, but hey, I can't hold it against all of them for what a few bad ones did. Am I wrong? Am I the long range on this? Well, after the people kind of dispersed, they was more agreeable. He actually apologized to me. I was shocked. Here's a guy that was telling a group of people, and I was looking at the younger generation, really, was listening to the stuff that he was saying, and this was something that was told to him. So he came and apologized. He said, man, I'm so sorry. I hadn't even thought of that way. I said, well, that's why I thought maybe I should bring your attention. See, a lot of people can't see for looking. A lot of people done lived in darkness so long till a little light blinds them. Now they don't see nothing. He said, man, you're so right. He said, man, I'm, I'm just sorry. I said, you don't owe me no apology. You owe the apology to yourself for falling for that foolishness. Somebody told you, well, my uncle and my relatives. I said, yeah, but why would they poison your mind when you're growing up and you get up here and you poison some more people's mind with the stuff that they told you? I mean, how cruel is that? And I mean, we talked for a long time after that, and the people was around. I guess they was around there. I didn't know people cared too much about Spaceman, but they was around there and they was listening to our conversation. And I wasn't gonna say nothing that wasn't people friendly. I don't have to make a statement by using adjectives that might not be kid friendly. So I just keep it level.
That's
And
what that's what's so cool about you, Spaceman, because you're that way. And some of us are not. Like me, I'm not like that all the time. I'm not always, because I feel like, I mean, goddamn, y'all. I mean, is it wrong? Is it wrong? Or should all brothers in the country should be working together?
well, we should all find a happy medium and not just get out of our lane. I mean, with everybody. I mean, we're in the world together. We should be able to work together. I
Right,
mean, we should take a lesson from, like you said one time, the ants. I mean, we should take a lesson from animals. I
right.
mean, birds, everything. You look at anything and it always displays togetherness, unitedness. I mean, it goes all the way back. I remember observing how together birds are. If one bird uh, bring the worm in there, as soon as his baby bird gets some feathers on it, they pick him in the behind and make it uncomfortable. He'll bring a worm in, but he can't eat it in peace
Right.
until he make that first flight. When he
Right.
make that first flight, he can't come back. Well, we got people, and I ain't gonna just say black people. I'm gonna say we got people that's still calling 43 and 50-year-olds in their household with no job eating. And I really, escapes me. I ran off home when I was 14, but I probably didn't have to, but I thought I had to. But here you got these people there, and they still referring to them as their kids, not knowing that you are hurting them worse than you're not helping them when it's like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
my
hear,
phone is ringing, and I don't know who the heck could be calling me. Let's see.
and this is to the audience. This is Spaceman.
Hello.
Brother, you there?
Yeah.
Cool. A spaceman.
Yeah. Okay. I'm back.
So that's what I'm saying. So birds, simple creatures, birds, they have a system or they have a code to where they do things. Like you saying that about a bird taking flight, bringing in the worm. Once they leave home, they can't leave. They have a system while they're being raised for them to get to that point. What kind of system do you think we need? I mean, for us.
Well, we really got to get back to basics. And you know the old rules: spare the rod, spoil the child. And as you know, according to the system we living in, they got it to where it's child abuse if you holler too loud. They
Right.
even gave kids instructions they could call the police on their own parents, not knowing that once they take the parents to jail, they're gonna put them in a foster home where
Oh,
they're gonna be with strangers. Now
oh,
they ain't got no choice. They
dang.
got rid of their real parents. And if you watch it, every time that uh, a kid, and I'm gonna say black kids because the ones I pay attention to, every time a kid gets shot down by mistreated by the police, I mean it's almost like you you can't whoop them, you can't discipline, you can't give them direction, but then the police can use them for target practice, and they get 2 or 3 weeks off with pay. Now, hey, if
Damn.
I was stressed out and I was a policeman and I figured that this guy is a 2 week off paid vacation, might be kind of tempted to go ahead and shoot one of them. I'm just gonna get some time off so I can get my mind together. I mean, some people think like that. I ain't saying all of them think like that, but it seems to me like it's a trend that I notice, and I don't know if anybody else noticed, every time a policeman accidentally or however kill a black kid. Now we talk about kids now. Uh, they get 2 or 3 weeks off with pay. I noticed that. Uh,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
anybody? Am I by myself? Did
No,
you notice that?
no. Hey, I mean, dude, that's what I'm saying. It's that type of stuff that goes on where we think it's cool. We go with it. We'll support it. You got
Well, we got it there, but then at the same time, I don't know of anything that's gotten better for us that we can say it's because of the marching, the rioting, the protesting, and all the stuff they've been doing all the time. I don't think anything is better until one of the so-called enemies put things in place that makes it better. I'll say food stamps. I don't even have food stamps. That's why sometimes I don't have our water to cry with. But at the same time, uh, the food stamp program was set up by the so-called bad people that you call the bad people. And everything that you protesting against,
Right.
I mean, just take for instance, if they burn the police cars, they throw bricks at them. Somebody throw bricks at your house, you call the police.
Right.
Well, if I was the police, I could say, well, uh, we don't have no car. We ordered some new cars, but the one y'all burn up, hey, I can't come out and arrest them piggyback. You know,
Right.
you just give them out. But
Right.
I'm just saying that as an example.
No, that's
I
that,
ain't saying it's like that, but it
that
could be.
that's how it is. Spaceman, give me just a couple of minutes. I want to go ahead and respond to a person in the truth holder. I want to
Oh,
respond to them because they said something. It's only going to take a couple of minutes.
all right, go ahead.
Check this out, y'all. This is a podcast called African Americans Ain't Africans. And we've been taught that, and I'm trying to learn that not only have we been taught to be like we are, like Spaceman was talking about, everybody has been taught that. Because everybody's group think their group is better than the next group. That's just how it goes here in the world today. All groups stick together. So we had this dude or girl or whoever it is, truth holder, and they say stop stealing Native American identity. Truth holder, I'm gonna be as nice as I can. And then I'll give you the number and you can call up and you can explain it. So you don't have to, you can explain what you're talking about. You say stop stealing Native American history. I mean, stop stealing Native American identity. First of all, cuz, is that your granddaddy on that Redskins helmet? Native means foreign. See, everybody knows the story of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was from Nazareth. He was native to Bethlehem. All native means is born. You were born there. That's what native means. It don't mean you indigenous to that country. It just means you were born there. We're not stealing your identity because that's really not our purpose. You have your purpose, and I'm sure you're fulfilling it. We have a purpose too, and most of us, we can point to our folks. We can point to our people. How come you're not in government? How come you didn't start the Republican Party? The Native Americans, you just couldn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing because they're not talking about Native American. Native American is a joke. It's an identity created for this government to use as a buffer. You're not indigenous, homie. You never were, you never will be, and you ain't now. But this is what you're not native, you're not my native brown people. Okay, you're right. We're not. And this is what I want the people who know they Indians in here. You the Indians, and you know it. He's not. He's just playing that role like most African Americans playing whatever African American is supposed to be. The indigenous people of this land is a reflection of this land that you're on. All countries, all places on the world where people live have an identity, and that identity marks the people. The land works with the people. The people are in that. You can't take a polar bear and put it in South Africa. He has an identity to that landmass that he's on. You don't have an identity here. You like to play these little games to try to keep people confused. Well, we're the unconfusing. Stop stealing Native American history. We don't want it. But this is the thing right here that really, because you say stuff, you say stuff and you don't know what you're talking about. This is still the same truth holder who says that we should stop stealing their Native American history. Be proud of being African. Stop hating your African roots and go seek a black psychiatrist. So guys, this is just an example of how you undress a person by just look at what they say. If you asked him what's an African, I got $20, say he wouldn't know. African roots The people who are coming over here from that continent don't even call themselves Africans. They call themselves their names of the people who they come from. What are you talking about? Go seek a black psychiatrist. I've never seen a black psychiatrist. It probably would scare me. And a black psychiatrist was trained by white psychiatrists to do what the white people tell them to do, kind of what you're doing now. Dude, get out of here. Spaceman, you
Yeah,
could you go on, please?
I tell you what, you hit the nail right on the head because I feel like that you can't keep repeating the same thoughts and actions that's gonna create situations negative to your goal. And you did pity yourself. Pity ain't gonna get the job done. And ain't no need of looking for love. Just be lovable and accepted. I mean, failure is like any other habit. You have to have the will to break it. And in this world, you got to learn what to want. Then select from that what you want. You learn what make you unhappy and you stop it. You learn what you can do to make you happy and you do it. I mean, I I rest my case. I mean, I guess I'm just a spaceman. I'm in the world, but I ain't really boogie to a lot of this stuff that's going on in the world. So maybe it got my name right. I didn't tell them to call me that, and I don't know who started it. But today I wear that name proudly because I see right now it sets me aside from the regular world people. Because I see right now what they think is important, it don't seem to be important to me. You know, I just look at things as they are, and I just go about creating and building. That's what I enjoy doing, and that's what I'm gonna keep on doing.
Okay,
And
spaceman, I got a question.
all right,
Because sometimes you know how you listen to that, you have that inner voice in your head that talks to you. We all do. And I like to say, some people say it's God, whatever, but I like to think of it as, I don't know, just the other side of myself, telling me and giving me ideas and stuff. And I know everybody has this because the ideas, where are these ideas coming from? How are we getting these ideas? So I'm figuring they're coming from somewhere. You can say God, whatever, you can say the devil, whatever. But I'm trying to be a night, try to walk this line where there's some balance, because
well, you're exactly right. There is two sides to you, two sides to everybody. There's a spiritual side and there's a physical side. The spiritual side of you call the shots. The physical side uh, just have urges and wants and things, and it kind of follow those urges. But the spiritual side of you can't sin. If you talk about sin and talk about God or anything like that, well, hey, the spiritual side of you can't sin. I mean, it can't eat too much because it ain't gonna get hungry and eat too much. It ain't gonna uh, drink too much alcohol. It ain't gonna run after women. I mean, the spiritual side of you is the perfect side of you. Yes, you get your ideas from the spiritual side of you because the spiritual side of you is the only link between you and God. That's the only communication he got is in signs and symbols and dreams or whatever you want to call it. A thought is something that you got from the spiritual side of you because it goes back there as you think in your heart, so is you. That's what the Word of God saying. That's what I'm saying. Um, you're exactly right. I mean, like I said, I admire your uh, skill because you can break it down into the molecular structure so a person can kind of understand it better. You know, in other words, you bring light to the truth. And when you bring light, that means bring understanding to the real truth. And I admire that part there, right there.
Well, help me understand this. So so I've been having this thought. Okay, in the southeast. Okay, so I would say the southeast is Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, North, South Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky. That that area as a place where so-called all African Americans live, that put what would you think would be the best thing for those group of people? Because the way this culture is changing, we're going to have to change too. What do you think the best thing for those people in that area? What is the one thing that they can monopolize and make their own?
Well, the first thing they got to go back to what we said at first, mental maturity. Because, like you said, all poor people ain't black, and all black people ain't poor. So if
Right,
you stop jiving yourself, maybe you can make it like anybody else. And I don't think that everybody, just cause they the color of the earth, they happen to label us African Americans now, but they used to call you Niagara. Well, they shorten that and call you a nigger. Well, we
yo,
call
man,
each other that all day long, but
no,
soon as one
man,
of the colored folks,
no, no,
huh?
don't forget, pick a nigga. Remember
Yeah,
that?
well,
Pick a nigga.
I tell you what, I feel like the Lone Ranger a lot of times because I'm out here. You can only do a good job of being who you are, and people might have ideas of what I should do, how I should act. Oh no, get your house in order and let me see what you got. Cause a bald head man really can't sell me no hair's growth.
Right.
So if you got something you said you're gonna grow some hair, hey, I'm gonna look at your head, and if I don't see no hair, I'm gonna run like a bunny rabbit to get out of your way, cause I know whatever you got is the reason that you ain't got no hair. So you think I'm gonna believe you gonna get me some?
Right. Right.
So if stuff people do, the choices they make, and I look at them and think that it's stuck on stupid, I can't take advice from them. I can only give a suggestion and let my light shine, and hopefully they can see. Like I said, a lot of people, uh, they've been very respectful toward me on my decisions. A lot of times they can be all out emotional and upset and uh, thinking that they're supposed to lash out at whoever, whenever, and they upset because something happened to one of us black people. But hey, the protesting and being mad and throwing fire bricks at the police is not nothing that's new because they've been doing it all the time. Now you keep on repeating the same thoughts and actions right there, you ain't gonna never get no goal. Do you have your own plan? You know, and like I said, a lot of people got a problem. I mean, standing up not as a black, as a white, but as a man. Does that scare you out of your shirt? Hey, that's crazy. I mean, it just seems like people got this emptiness here, and they want to fill it with something. So if they fill it with garbage, then you got garbage. But you can empty out that garbage that got you nowhere in the first place and start filling it with positive thoughts. You go inside your little room, that's your mind. And a lot of times you have to get to yourself to even get a message from the spirit. At least it's all the time with me because everything I get up and dream up, I get up and it works. I designed a thing to lift a lawnmower up out of a, just out of a step ladder and a winch that I voice controlled. I designed that and tested out today. And I said, man, now that's what I'm talking about. That's the link between us and the creator. We get our creativity from the creator. So when we come to that understanding, then we got we moving out of the lane of wondering and stupidness and all this other stuff. Because when you get your mind in neutral, all that other stuff will take over. I mean, you can put a car in neutral and two two guys, they don't even have to be weightlifters, can move that car anywhere if it ain't locked in some kind of gear. If your mind ain't locked in on something, it's gonna go along with anything. Anything will get you. And when they restrict the carbon monoxide with the mask that they got on, they don't know they break down the immune system. They make the immune system make them susceptible for any disease virus. They can get a virus from a fly in because they ain't got no immune system to fight off nothing, and it will not rebuild once it's destroyed, depleted by carbon monoxide. I mean, somebody need to learn that or wake up and see that or something. I mean,
But does
if not, the world gonna perish for the lack of knowledge.
is that seriously what? Because that looks like what's happening, man. That looks like exactly what's happening. Because I can't.
Yeah, I mean, they had this thing. I had a relative call me and said that a church choir uh, died or got sick from this virus, and here they are, all in there singing together. And if you, they say, well, you can be carrying a virus and don't know it. Hey, if you don't know it, then you ain't gonna show it. So if you don't know it, what do you mean? You trying to save the world from yourself? I mean, if you got it, that done already told you that's a death sentence, almost like cancer. Now they saying that the people got the virus. Look at all these people that's supposed to die, but they don't have an accurate account of the people that died of natural causes. They just keep your focus on how many people died in your area, and they just call it that since it's in the thing with everybody all in an uproar about this uh, V-19 or whatever, COVID, whatever they call it. But anyway, somebody better wake up. Otherwise, you're just gonna be asleep, and you're gonna go into a deep sleep.
I mean, I when I'm seeing, when I go out, I can't believe it. Now, to be honest, most people not into it. You go to different areas. Some people just they don't even pay attention to it at all. And I know the TV is a main vehicle used to push ideologies and what people believe. Because if the TV said most Negroes, they believe it. And
Well, if you look at this so-called president, I mean, I didn't vote for him, but he don't wear no mask. I don't understand that if it's something that gonna kill him, how come he ain't got none on?
none of them got them on. None of no, that.
No, they ain't got them on, but you got them on. They probably the ones that's got the factories that's manufacturing the sanitizer and the mask for your stuck on stupid ass. Well, I said a bad word. I didn't mean to do
Come
that.
on, man.
But
You can let it rip.
no, I'm giving you your props. I mean, you respect, and I'm giving the people respect because a lot of times, if you let that get loose, it spoils the interest of people when it get like that. So I'm trying to keep it
Say that one more.
family friendly. You
Say
see what I'm
that.
saying?
But do me a favor. Say that one more time. Listen, y'all.
Well, I see you want to hold my feet in the fire.
No, you saying, hey, you if you let it get out of hand, it'll take you somewhere. So I see what you okay, so that's the thing. Because when I go out, I'll be like, God damn, y'all. But I know I don't want to use that word. I want to be balanced with that word. But
Well,
sometimes
if you just bring it to their attention that collectively the carbon dioxide that they supposed to be breathing out is going back in there, and collectively it's destroying, it's depleting their immune system. Now they'd be susceptible to any virus. A fly can come through and give them a virus then, because they won't have no immune system to fight off nothing. wearing this so-called saving mask. All this saving is carbon monoxide to get enough of it there to wipe you out.
Well, listen, spaceman, you have seen this before. So what kind of ideas or what should we be focusing on now as a group of people who can see what you're seeing? I mean, shouldn't we be like working together for a common goal or having a kind of
Well,
same mindset or something?
we could, but the only sad part about that, uh, I didn't get this ugly since yesterday, and I just really got a little disappointed that I hadn't got the attention to enough, as you said, black talented people when I was building cars, for instance, out of wood and sheet metal. I was example that if one man can design and build a car, what would a group of people with the talent level that we have? Now we got the talent, but it ain't what you got; it's what you do with what you got. If you don't do nothing with it, ain't nothing gonna come out. If you don't plant no seed of positively actions, ain't no positive gonna come out. It's gonna all be negativity. And you
Right.
spend a lot of time trying to be mad at the colored folks you call white. You gotta try to see if you can put some focus on who we are and see if we can't try to get things halfway in a perspective some kind of way because we're a lost cause if it comes down to it.
So what? So when you talk to so-called African Americans, Black people, or these so-called people who try to inspire you, you always hear the black man is the first man on the planet, blah blah blah, all this stuff in the ancient past.
I've heard that too, but then you just showing you just showing the how stuck on stupid you really are. Because if you had that much of a head start to be the first ones here, and you ain't got no further than you got now, that's just showing your stupidity uh, to me. And then you walk around with pajamas on over here with a hat to match, letting the world know you part of the Sleepwalkers Association. That's not impressive to me, and it's not inspiration to me that they would choose to walk around with pajamas on and saying they're proud to be African American. They never been to Africa. They wasn't born in Africa. So how do you know how proud they are? Go up there and make a wrong turn, and you'll find out.
Okay,
Get a
so
black rag over your head, somebody cutting your head off. That's what I've seen. Now, it might not be like that, but I ain't going over there. I ain't lost nothing over there, and I sure don't expect to find nothing over there.
so, so let me ask you this. So let's take what you said about cars. Building cars. If they had and so this is the thoughts I be getting sometime. If we had a car manufacturing place, or we just finally got something that said, look, we're gonna start building our own cars. Where would you say we start, and what would you say some of the materials that are readily available that we need?
We got access to any materials that the colored folks got to build anything, but the only thing we don't have is the togetherness. I mean, we can design and build. Why we gotta accept what they design? Now they design cars on a computer, so all of them look like T squares. I mean, we can design the kind of car. It's a clothing company. I've seen some guy. They said Fubu or somebody make clothes. So he made some kind of step. I don't know how it's doing because I don't buy stuff like that. I remember a person asked me, did I have any Tommy Hilfiger clothes? And I said, well, hell, Tommy ain't got none of mine.
Oh,
So why should I get his? You know, and that right there stuck in my mind because when my daughter was growing up there, uh, she had a distant relative that she wanted to see, and she was sort of of age with my daughter. But we come over there and they asked we was gonna take them out to dinner, and so my daughter can get acquainted with her relative. Oh hell, she come in there and asked me did I have any Tommy Hilfiger stuff on, and I forgot to remember that she was a kid, but I felt like that stepfather of hers called her back there, and then she come out there with that, and so I made sure that he would get the message. I said, "Well, hey, I ain't got Tommy Hilfiger's clothes, and he ain't got none of mine. Now this is my daughter here, and I'm who I am. Is this if I'm trying to get here, so you'll think Tommy Hilfiger done showed up? You better call him, you know." So I just gotta uh, I try to keep it level, and I don't let people uh, you know back me up against the wall with foolishness like that.
But because the reason I bring up the automobile because I want to get into what you were talking about earlier, and you were saying about riding on the molecules. And
Yeah, well, that would be an excellent thing, and that would be something that would change the table because then that way, with the cars they got with rubber tires on them, look like that would be obsolete by now. This is the space age, and I happen to be the spaceman. So why should we still be riding on rubber tires and you run over nails, you got a flat? So I thought that would be a thing that would be convenient to me, even if the whole world didn't like it. But I believe they would like it because then it would free them up from being stuck in the snow, stuck in the mud. You ain't stuck nowhere with that, but you always can go. See that's moving forward. You
right,
know. Then you get away from this foolishness about uh, batteries that run certain time. You got to wait 4 hours for it to. Hey, you must ain't got no schedule if you got 4 hours to kill and you on your way to Chicago or some relative's funeral or wherever you're going for whatever, family reunion, whatever it is. Along the way, you got 4 hours to kill. It'd be a project just getting from one place to the other. You
right.
know, if you got to wait for something like that. So I had a system that I could use what they got and design a alternating system where it would go it wouldn't deplete either one. And one thing about all they batteries they got, all batteries got a memory. If you don't carry them past the point of no return, they come right back. So why shouldn't they be uh, switched like we do when we walk? You don't use up all the energy hopping on one leg. You just it's an energy exchange, and you can walk from where you live on downtown somewhere without being all wore out and tired. But if you had to jump from your car on one leg and hop to get to the car, you wore out. You whooped. It's
Spaceman,
just common sense, and God designed it like that because He knew that you couldn't do all the walking you needed to do on one leg. So He gave you two. You got two eyes because He knew that you couldn't see everything He wanted you to see with one eye. So you got two eyes. You got two ears. You got two nostrils in your nose, but at the same time, you only got one mouth and one exhaust pipe. I don't want to say that word, but that's what you got. You got an intake and an exhaust.
hey, Spaceman, I don't want to be too long because I want to take this and share it on Instagram, and I can only upload an hour on it. So we coming up on an hour. So, any last closing words you want to leave with the audience before we shut?
Well, you can might mention that we're working on a system that will give them some hands-on, and if they can spare a little cash out here and there, it would be highly appreciated. But I wanted to show them a simple system that could use just drinking straw and produce enough energy to light up something. And they could do it themselves. And you give them a sample of this that they can experiment with. Who knows? They might come up with something even better.
Right, right.
And that's why I figured that you could kind of put it in a little kit form and just call it a straw battery. Because you just put a little bit of this in some foil and paper and then put it in a light. You ain't gotta have no battery in it then.
That's right.
It should run for hours. And
Right.
you got ain't nothing gonna spoil on it like food or something like that. So it'll be something you can have hours of enjoyment of actually seeing something happen with something that you can do hands on.
Well, we about to get to that.
And I feel like that on that note, they will probably cash app you something to kind of uh, promote, support your message, and then it'll get the message to the whole world.
Well, that's what we're working on, Spaceman. Hey, man, I appreciate you joining us today.
Well, man, the pleasure was all mine, man.
Okay.
Like
Peace.
I say, I ain't got no script wrote down. I'll never know what I'm gonna say from time to time. I mean, if I wrote something, let it sit, I wouldn't know what it was after I got there. What did I want? What was I trying to say? You know.
I have it. It didn't have to be written down. It's on the voice. You can hear. We can hear your voice saying it. So that's cool. That's good enough.
Okay, man. Pleasure's all mine, though.
All right. Appreciate you. This is what we have in our communities, y'all. And he's just one man. Do you imagine? Can you imagine what we have amongst us? Can you imagine? We caught up into this world and it's not working for us. I say we take our energy and use it for the good of us. That's all. That's the only point I'm trying to get across. And you know what I'm talking about. The people of this country of America, the Americans, the soul people, they call you, you're called every day. Everybody calls upon America every day. They're calling upon you. And boy, do you deliver. You put extras on top of it. This man you listening to tonight, he's in your communities, y'all. We need to, these are the guys who need to be superintendents of schools. These are the guys that should be principals and teachers at the places our children go to learn. Why we keep sending them to this pedophile ass? What are we doing? Okay. Like the brother said earlier, if you got all this knowledge and you don't do nothing with it, shut up. Don't say nothing. We got all this talent amongst us and we playing. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, ugh. And it's, come on. So Spaceman, he's gonna be showing us some stuff later on. I'm gonna go up and see him and we're gonna do some stuff. Just been busy and haven't been able to get up there. But soon, check this brother out. Check this brother out. He'll definitely light it up. Thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you next time. Peace.